Good afternoon, this is Dr. K. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about week 5 and 6 of the team project, which is the planning component. Couple overall notes first. Projects are progressively elaborated. What that means is that every document is slightly more detailed, more in-depth, more developed than the set of documents that came before. What that also means is there's a certain amount of redundancy, and it's not only okay, but it's a smart idea to reuse anything you can from the previous documents in the next set of documents because people are familiar with it, and you might change things without really thinking about it. It also keeps everything aligned as you go through. And keeping things aligned between different documents, be that between risk planning and scope planning, is all about what a project manager does. Also, your goal for using these templates and doing this team project is to learn through applying. Well, you're already learning about teamwork through working in teams, and that's real learning. We want you to focus on quality, not on quantity. You don't learn more by doing the same thing 5 times. You learn more by doing 5 different things. And so while we want you to be complete about the segment that you choose to work on, we don't want you to work on 15 separate segments and do the same work 5 times for 5 different deliverables, for example. Also, the templates that we've chosen are very detailed and specific because there's a large part of project management that is built up from the bottom, where we actually go through and figure out what all of the activities are, and then we figure out what doing each of those activities would cost in terms of human resources and how long each one of those would take and which ones have to be done before others. And then all of those items are rolled up into the overall schedule. So doing an overall schedule first is not good formal project management. And so we ask you to do part of the detail for a specific element. Also, it helps if you think and draft first. As you go through these templates, answer the question that the prompt is asking. Just in English, just put it in. You may take it out later if you find something better from one of your previous documents. But if you can just put in a sentence that says that one thing, then you know what you're looking for. I'll show you an example of that. Also, skip around if you're stumped. There's nothing that says that you need to do things in order. And you use the PMBOK guide to look for inputs, outputs, and tools and techniques, because that really gives you the best studying from these templates. So let's take a look at the planning element. We've divided it into 2 groups. Planning A is scope, time, cost, and planning B has more to do with risk, quality management, communications. Just randomly did the first knowledge areas first and then moved on to the second. So here's an example of Jack's project, and what Jack has is if I were to describe the end product that his product will produce, he is producing English classes for adults. And I went back to his charter and picked out a nice little sentence that goes through and describes that in a little more detail. In terms of product acceptance criteria, if you are working for a customer, the customer says, yes, I'll accept this product, or no, I won't. But if you're not working for a customer, it's often the sponsor who fills that position, and they may use a team of people to go through and evaluate all of the things the project has produced. and say yes or no, you're done. And I think in this case, we're going to just have the sponsor review the results, like testing results of the students compared to what we had planned. Also, there are some different ones. As opposed to product deliverables, there are project deliverables. And those are generally the documents that you're doing are the most tangible outputs, but it's also some meetings and things like that. I used the documents that were required to do for planning A here, and for planning B, or for initiating, I would use the project charter and stakeholder analysis. Those are what you actually tangibly can see that you completed in project management. In terms of product-related deliverables, I want each one of these to be very tangible. So my overall product, we said, was English classes for adults, and I can break that down any way that I want. But for this example, I decided that classes, students, teachers, and maybe test results would be the primary deliverables that we were going to use. And then it's important to go through and talk about what's not inside the product boundaries or project boundaries. And in this case, although we're training immigrants to have better job interviewing skills, we're not actually helping with job placement in any way. And what you put into exclusions in a project can really save you down the line, as I found out in real life. The next piece is the work breakdown structure. There are several different approaches you could take to this. So let's talk about the work breakdown structure. This is a very detailed document. Oops, I lost it. And it takes the work of the project, everything that's going to be delivered, and breaks it down or decomposes it into work packages. So each work package is what one person could do in about a week, or one small team of people could do in a week, is one of the rule of thumbs for work package sizes. So the major product that we're delivering are English classes for adults. And I broke that down into classes, students, teachers, testing results, and project management. And I just left deliverable 5 free because I didn't know what it was going to be. So let's take this number 2 and go down and find 2.0 down here. Yeah, 2.0. That is students. 15 or more students. I'll know I'm done with this when I have 15 or more students. And so I broke that down further into student recruiting and student registration. And initially I thought it might be a good idea to have a student attending the classes, but then I got, I don't know if that's the right idea. So, and you can see that my deliverables depend on what I chose to do. I might be adding my class to an existing registration process at the organization, or I might have to develop a new student registration process depending on what my organizational environment is like. So you complete your work breakdown structure in that way. And students often ask me, do I have to do the entire work breakdown structure? And I say, no, of course you don't. However, it's a really good way to learn to look at all the pieces of your project, and it gives you more things to pick and choose from when you're going through and doing some of your more detailed planning later. So let's go into the milestone list. It's first asking us about inputs, and it's always safe to think about EEFs and OPAs because they are inputs to practically every process. So if I were to decide that the major milestone that I'm worried about in student recruitment, in at least the planning part, is the recruitment plan being approved, if that's a major deal to get that done, then I might put in that breakdown structure ID, call it the recruitment plan approved, and then I would have to choose a date for that. And I'm not sure what the date is going to look like. So I will definitely have to make it all tie out. But really, when you do milestones, you can show me examples of small milestones, or you can have just the big milestones. But do tie them back to a work breakdown structure ID, and do tell me what document or other deliverable will be used. So the recruitment plan is the document that it's either done or it's not done. So let's carry this same item down into the activity list with resource attributes. This is what would be built up to create a schedule at the end. So if I look at the inputs that I used, well, I know that I used the work breakdown structure because that's where I got the information from. And so let's go to 2.1.4 develop recruitment plan. And I'm going to say that would take 7 days, approximately duration from beginning to end. And there would be about 10 hours worth of work and 5 people involved. And that might be one person working for 5 hours and the other people, 4 people, attending a 1-hour meeting with you. It doesn't matter, but duration is kind of a start to finish, and it's like paint drying. It doesn't necessarily take effort, but it could. So I've got spread over 7 days. I've got 10 hours of work for 5 people. And the skills that we need are, we need some planning skills, and we need some marketing skills. And we need some student services so that we know what the what we have there. And then in terms of materials, not much. I'm already assuming that somebody's got a laptop and they can pull this together. So that's an example of a specific activity. And you'll notice that activities have verbs in them. Develop recruitment plan. Next, I move into activity cost estimates. So I'm going to go 2.1.4 and use the same thing. And the work breakdown structure description of that thing was recruit students. And then the labor hours, remember I had 10 labor hours, and I think we decided labor is always $40 an hour here. So the total labor for that is $400, and we said there were no equipment, no indirect costs that we're going to worry about, and no travel involved. So really we know that now for this WBS component, we've actually put a cost associated with that of $400. So someone else could come back and say, well, I think you need to take, I think you need to have 15 people in that meeting, not 5. And you could say, well, that's going to increase our costs significantly. I'm going to put Planning B process group on a different video, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you.